Hi.
Hello, ladies.
Hey,
Hello.
girl. What's
Hey.
up? Nice to
What's up?
officially meet you.
Can I see you guys yet? Where are you?
Yeah, hold
We're
on.
here.
We're here.
We're in the virtual world.
There's the Katies.
The Katie's. I know. I met with the Sarahs earlier this week. It was so
How
much
funny
fun.
is that?
Oh,
Yeah, the Katies.
I totally forgot that you guys, I always forget we have the Sarahs and everybody spelled the same way. The Sarahs. We just call them the Sarahs.
The Sarahs. It's so funny. Yep. So we're K2.
It's really, really nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. I know. So sorry I wasn't able to be on the other podcast that you guys did. My mom actually has lung cancer. It's stage 1, thank God. But I was out of town. I flew to Houston with her to MD Anderson. I'm actually flying back on Sunday for her to have lung surgery. But that's the reason I wasn't able to be on. But I know Katie said she loved connecting with you and was like, I could talk business with this chick all day long, every day.
That is so sweet. Well, first of all, I did know that about your mom, and I just want you to know that I'm very sorry you're handling this. It's terrible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it sucks that she has cancer, but I'm just so glad that they found it and she's getting it removed and we know about it. She doesn't have any symptoms.
Have you read much about the Gerson diet?
No, I haven't. How do you spell that?
I think it's Gersen.
Okay, Gerson. Okay.
It was derived in Florida, but effectively the thinking is that people with any stage cancer that's been developed should have very high level of vitamin C infusions during treatment.
Okay.
And had very good success with this methodology. I mean, obviously if someone gets sick enough, it's sick enough. And then there's the lifespan of somebody who's had treatment. There's all these, 5-year studies, et cetera. But I like to study this stuff on the side. I find it really compelling.
Mm-hmm. I'm just writing that down so I can, what?
I can't do Facebook Live because of this. They can't hear us.
Oh.
Sorry, we were just thinking about something earlier and I just was like, that's not gonna work. Sorry.
You're right, because it's only one-sided.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never mind.
Okay. we were gonna think we're trying to get creative with putting more
marketing, sharing, content.
More spontaneous videos out there of us,
Smart.
as we're doing things throughout the day, just to be more open and put it out there. So we were like, oh, it'd be really cool to do a Facebook Live and just record the process of us having this conversation with you. And I was going to check in with you to see if you'd be open for that, but we just realized because of the headset,
they're not gonna hear you.
They would only hear us talking, they wouldn't hear you. So it'd be like a weird one-sided thing.
We got a little tripod here for the phone.
Is there anything I can do on my side to make it so you can I help, or is it?
No. Because we want it to be good quality. So we want to have the headset on. So
yeah, no, we're good.
I like the concept, but it's like the Katie's on the go, and you're just do you become like news reporters on the go, just checking in with therapists all around the country? This is awesome.
We have felt on the go today.
I know.
We did 2 podcasts. We did a webinar. We're doing your podcast.
Oh my God, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's
at least we spaced it out right this time. We give an hour break in between a few things, so we're good.
I can't tell. I mean, you guys have been doing this probably as much as me or as long as me. I am now having just setting some limits around this because I want them to be great. So I really can't, I feel like I can't do more than 2. And I also feel like if I don't have time, we were butting them up against each other. If I don't have time to settle, I want to learn about my guests and hang out with them and talk like this and everybody settle in. It just changes the whole quality of the connection. And I want to read about them before I get there and study. And I'm now taking, I said 90-minute scheduling break between them and no more than 2 in a day. That's the program around here.
Yeah. I mean,
works.
whatever works, we try and,
we do 4 back-to-back usually.
So we'll batch.
But there's 2 of us. We feed off each other.
Exactly. Yeah. You're
sure.
So it's 2 of us, so it kind of helps to balance the energy a little bit.
When Kate starts to dive on Friday afternoon and her energy starts to plummet, I'm like, and so that's exciting. And she takes it up a little bit
more of an introvert, and so it takes a lot for me to carry forth the energy, and I can do it and I enjoy it, and I've learned to get be a lot more comfortable with it. But over time, it just it weighs on me more than someone else who might be naturally more extroverted.
Well, it's really, I, by the way, think that would be a really compelling thing for you to talk to guests about, because I really think there's so many therapists who want to I think they want to have a product that they feature that's out there, and I feel like they can't. And I think that's partially because a lot of them are disproportionately introverts, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and you've gotten past that and put yourself out there. It's sort of compelling. I might ask you about it today.
For sure. You know what's so funny is because like the theme of the day is just authenticity. We just got off this webinar with Ernesto, and typically Katie and I are super structured and prepared, and we have everything outlined, and we are learning that we actually
throw it out the window.
Yeah, we've kind of thrown the structure out the window. We're just going more off the cuffs and having things be more conversational and more authentic and more flowing naturally. Even with our podcast for the past almost 2 years, we've had it be much more structured, where we send initial questions and everything like that. And now we've just kind of thrown it out the window. We're having natural conversations as they go. And we're finding that it just feels so much better. Our personalities are coming through. We're telling stories, and we're hoping that our listeners and people who are watching us are really, responding well to that, and it's fitting well for them too. So we're kind of doing that with your podcast too. I know you sent a bunch of different questions, and I decided that I'm just going to go off the cusp, and I looked at them a while back, and I was like, I'll just answer these spontaneously as we go. So that way it's more organic and natural. So we can go in whatever directions you want to go.
We
lost you.
No.
It might be cool just to do. I know when Joe was on our podcast at one time, he had done the one-sided Facebook Live where they just watched him as he was on the podcast, and they'll still hear our stories. And
Jessica, I think Jessica says that's cool, that's okay, but we still can't hear you. Where did you go?
Your mics.
Oh, nice. You can hear us though.
Can you hear us?
Let me see.
So I'm just gonna.
I just want to see that. No, we can't hear you.
Mm-mm.
1 minute. Yep. Oh, there's the tech person right there. Or the person that has more tech knowledge. We see you.
We have our tech girl right here too. So I'm just gonna.
Oh, that's right. Jessica can only hear us. I'm just being funny, and the tech person can't hear.
I'm just gonna put it on. And
well,
we'll just watch our
Can you hit done so I can see I want to put it here to see.
Yeah, I will once I finish writing.
Finish.
I'm just going to say it's, isn't it going to go live when I hit done? This is a Facebook Live.
Right, but I think you hit live, no?
If we need to restart the Zoom, we can.
Just like refresh?
Do we need to restart the Zoom?
No, not yet.
Okay.
If you need to communicate with us, just put it in the chat. We'll open our chat. My mouth is so dry. Do you have any mints? Oh, wait, I have mints.
Second screen.
Oh, there you are. I hear you.
You can hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah. I wonder what happened.
You can hear me. You can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been messing around with this one screen versus second screen and the Zoom going at the same time. And anyway, it's made for a situation. So
that's okay. No problem. So we had talked about also we're like repurposing content all over the place. So we talked about doing a reverse interview. Are you still cool with us doing that?
So are we today?
Yep. So at the same time that you're recording us, we'll record it as well. And then
of course.
We'll put a different intro on the front.
Yeah.
And then we'll blast it out to our network as well. So it's double the exposure for both of us, which is cool.
Oh yeah, of course.
Something that we learned from Joe Sanok. So something that he did with us, and we were like, wow, that's a really cool. That's a really
love
cool
it.
idea.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay.
And then I just want to go over real quick. Kate Campbell and is it Lemieux?
Lemieux. Mm-hmm. You got it.
Like Pepe Le Pew.
Don't do that. Do you know that's a trauma story for me?
No, I didn't.
It's a trauma story.
Aww.
I used to get called Pepe Le Pew in grade school. I'm fine.
Aww.
I had 20 years of therapy. No, I'm just kidding.
That's so funny.
Yep. Michael Mel used to call me Pepe Le Pew.
I will not call you Pepe Le Pew.
It was Chet
won't ever
Hampton,
say
I
that.
think.
I won't ever say that again.
No, it's funny. Maybe I'll find him on Facebook. I'll be like, remember when you called me Pepe Le Pew?
Oh, that's so funny. I didn't know that. After all these years.
So just so you ladies know, I mean, the way we do things, and it's probably very similar to you, I'm going to go over, Katie and I did this the other day in the reverse order, but I'm just going to do a quick intro, and then I'm going to talk about the sponsor. I'm going to go over your bio, and then read exactly what you asked us to read. And then I'll jump into the questions. I just want to make sure with you guys, if you have any recommendations, you guys both have a lot of energy, you already have a dynamic. And, I find it harder with 3 people than 2 people, of course. So was there any particular questions you wanted me to feed in any particular direction, or is there a way? I mean, that's why I was playing with the speakers and the computer. I want to make sure I can see. I have to have really good visual cues if there's more than one person. We did an interview a few weeks ago, and one person called in and one person I could see. I'm like, this is a nightmare. I cannot tell who's going when. So now that I can see you guys, I'll see who wants to answer things and who wants to talk. But I'd love it to just be conversational, and I hope you don't mind. I mean, I hope that works for you.
Totally.
Yeah. And
we're just running with that whole theme. So
we're good at cueing each other too.
Yeah.
Like if Kate's talking and I want to say something, we'll cue each other. But if you want us to both answer, sometimes it helps to say, well, what do you think? Or KT or Kate, what do you think?
Yeah.
That way we know that you want us to answer. But yeah,
Right.
we usually cue each other pretty well.
Great. So, and then you guys sent over your bio. Was there anything else you wanted me to say other than what I already have on you? Anything you want me to highlight? Anything you want to be directed toward today, or anything you're ecstatic about, Katie? You and I talked a lot about kind of business and the climate for therapists and kind of shifting this industry so that, people are not only optimizing patients, they're effectively learning to optimize themselves. But we're going to be talking a lot about your contributions to the marketplace. But is there anything in particular you want me to hit on before I just jump on and we roll with it?
I don't think so.
I think it might come up just organically for sure.
Yeah, it probably will. I'm gonna actually do this Facebook Live, just so you know. I'm gonna put it on this little stand over here, and it'll just be showing the one side of things.
Sure.
But we'll just run with it and see.
Let's just see.
Gotta go the other way.
Yep.
Let's just give it a try, ladies.
I think I can flip it around, right?
Oh, your internet stinks. Oh, there we go.
We're on Facebook Live, and there is Jessica Dolgan.
Hey, Jess. I know you guys aren't going to be able to hear, but just motion hands. Jessica Dolgan is the founder and creator of Therapy Partner, and she actually was on our podcast, I feel like 2 weeks ago, like that recently. And Jessica and I got to chat a ton about business, which was awesome.
I know, I missed it.
That stuff like feeds my soul.
It does. It totally does. I love that you guys were having that conversation, and I can't wait to listen to it. So we thought we would just plug in this Facebook Live here, and we'll just let it run.
Okay.
Here, you want to flip it around? Oh, does it have to go that way?
I guess it can, but good. Hey, my little stand. Come on, guy.
Can you turn it sideways?
I don't know. I don't think this is going to work because the internet connection.
So weird.
Next time.
All right.
Okay. Can we record on our end?
Yeah. Let me know when. Let me know when you're ready, and then we'll just take a moment of silence, and I'll just make first a clean recording, and then off we go. So you just tell me when you're ready.
So is there so for us to record on our end to do the reverse interview, it says, please record permission from the host. If we hit okay, so go ahead, okay. Do you get like something that pops up that says we want to record?
Let me see if I get anything.
I don't know how you would do that. Let's see.
I don't, because ours records straight up to the cloud. Mm-hmm. So the other thing is we can just share the file with you too.
Okay.
When we're done. Okay. Just send it right over.
That'll work.
That's what we usually do if we do this reverse program, which we've done with some other folks. So happy to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. No problem whatsoever.
You lead the show. We're ready. Enough of our nonsense.
So, just real quick, Jess Jefferson. At some point, if you want to do a Facebook Live from over there, just like showing the live podcast in action, that would be kind of a cool thing since we have you here. That'd be great. Okay. All right. Cool. We're ready.
Okay, great. This is gonna be fun, ladies. This is off we go together. Okay, I'll just gonna clap so there's a moment of silence for us to split this, parse this recording up, and then off we go. Okay. Well, hello and welcome to Love Your Practice. I'm your host, Dr. Jessica Dolgan. Love Your Practice is a podcast dedicated to improving the quality of life for private practice clinicians by providing you all, hopefully, with this community, inspiration, wisdom, and business of practice education. Love Your Practice is powered by Therapy Partner, a practice management technology designed specifically for clinicians in private practice with the explicit aim of streamlining the business side of your business. You can visit therapypartner.com at any time to explore the unique practice management technology, as well as all of our Love Your Practice educational content, which includes webinars, this podcast, practice building strategies, a blog, and more. So today we are really proud to welcome Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux, the founders of the Private Practice Startup. This has been an interview that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about these incredible women, tell you a little bit about our sponsor, and then we're going to jump in and ask these ladies some questions and find out, hopefully, some nuggets about how they've been so successful in this industry. So the Private Practice Startup is co-owned by Katie Campbell and Katie Lemieux. They're two therapists with entrepreneurial spirits who live, work, and play in South Florida. Kate and Katie both built their six-figure private practices from the ground up and love inspiring, ambitious mental health professionals to brand themselves, grow their dream private practices. They have a hunger for business, branding, and marketing, and share their knowledge and expertise so others can also achieve the success they desire. Together, they've been featured as guest experts on goodtherapy.org, therapy sites, Your Badass Therapy Practice, Abundance Practice Building Podcast, Selling the Couch, Practice of the Practice Podcast, Brighter Visions Podcast, Taboo Talk Time Podcast, Marketing Workshop Podcast, and Becoming a Group Guru. They provide free podcasts, webinars, online courses, private practice coaching, and customizable attorney-approved private practice paperwork for therapists. They look forward to inspiring you from startup to mastery. You can visit them anytime, and I would highly encourage it at privatepracticestartup.com for more information. We're incredibly honored to have them with us. I'm just going to thank our sponsor real quick, and then we'll jump in and let you guys get to know the Katies. So before we jump into the meat of the interview, I wanted to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Good Therapy, which is a business that specifically serves this industry and knows that ethical treatment is of utmost importance. And their profile directory helps therapists get there. These unique companies that we have as sponsors have set out with the intention to uniquely serve the needs of our industry, and Good Therapy is the best. If you're looking for a directory listing to grow your practice so clients can find you online, they're an incredible affiliate. We feel very lucky to be collaborating with them. You can join goodtherapy.org today and become a member of the most trusted online resource for finding a therapist in this country. Goodtherapy.org has been helping millions of people find the right therapist since 2007, and they are a longtime partner of ours, and I can't recommend their services enough. So let's just move right to connecting with the Katies, and welcome, both of you.
Thank you for
so much for
having us.
us.
Yes, we're so excited to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah, that was such a warm welcome. It made me feel like, and as you're reading all those things that we've been showcased or featured on, I was like, wow, you almost have that feeling like that you're talking about someone else. That's us.
Is that us?
Huh.
Oh, wait, that's us.
That's funny.
Yeah.
While I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, when I got involved in this industry, I think what I really wanted to see more than anything was clinicians begin to own the fact that they can be business people, that they can really have a greater impact in the community, and that they really need to get over this kind of myth that they are not able to have a wider reach and to be genuine business people. And I look at the two of you, and of course our listeners can't see you, but I see both of you there with your podcast box, and you've been on all of these shows. You're really making a great impact. Your website is beautiful. Your products are wonderful. You're easy to talk to. You genuinely care about helping these clinicians to optimize their life. And I mean, I think you've done a great deal. That's why the bio took so long. So congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much, Jessica. It's so interesting for us to be on the flip side, because we're used to being in your role and interviewing other people, and it's fun to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I feel really honored that you guys came on. I feel like, Therapy Partner really does try to select the the best affiliate partners in the country and really direct therapists to the best services. And I think that you guys really are offering this. And I think they need the help, and there's no reason not to ask for it. This isn't 20, 30 years ago where there was no services for clinicians to optimize their business. We now have them, and you're right there. So I want to maybe maybe each one of you can answer this, but I think everyone who listens to our podcast, we tend to focus on interviewing thought leaders. And I think of you both as thought leaders in our industry and community.
Thank you.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you two, as therapists yourselves, ended up deciding to move into helping therapists. Tell us maybe a little bit about your career trajectory and what inspired you guys to do this.
So I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and I always knew that when I graduated college, went on to get my master's and eventually my PhD. After that, I knew that I wanted to have a group practice. And when I first started out in private practice as a registered intern down here in the state of Florida, I was working at somebody else's practice. And I'm like, oh, if I create this beautiful office and have it all decorated, I get myself some business cards. And if I build it, they will come. I call it the field of dreams mentality. That's what we call it. And I realized the hard way that it doesn't work that way. And you think that I was coming from this family of entrepreneurs and very business-minded people that I would know more about business, right? So I went to graduate school. I became a great clinician. I was ready to change the world. And then I was drowning in my overhead expenses. And I learned the hard way about how to build a practice and kind of learn things backwards. So it took a lot longer for me to figure out what it takes to be a thriving private practitioner. And then once I did learn the branding and the marketing and the whole business side of the business, I was able to have a 6-figure plus private practice, a group practice. And then over the years, I would naturally attract clinicians who wanted to do the same. They're like, how did you do what you did? And then I just so loved coaching them. And it was something I was just naturally attracting, and I was loving it. And simultaneously, Katie had, and you can share your story as well, because we have a little bit different stories.
Yes.
Katie had her successful private practice out west in Coral Springs, and we worked together on the Broward Association for Marriage and Family Therapy as president and vice president for 3 years. And
But before that, we
met in licensure supervision
in 2006.
Yeah.
So we've actually known each other for a long time. Then we've, like Kate said, we became president and vice president of our local chapter. And we found that we work so well together. Our leadership qualities, our business, getting things done. I mean, the team, the board was very responsive. We resurrected a dead board. And I had always loved training. And that's like that's like my stage, right? I love to train. I love to have fun. And Kate had said, I'd really love to do a training with you. And I said, great. And so we developed the supervision course here in the state of Florida, which is a required course for people who want to become supervisors, which is still one of our staples. And we're doing that in 2 weeks. So that's fun. That's a lot of fun for us. And then we realized that we didn't want to just be a local or statewide company, that we really wanted to expand into the online world. And Kate had listened to John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire, and said, we need to podcast. And I'm like, okay, sure.
Basically,
whatever you said. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then we just have been, hitting the ground running and systemizing and cleaning up. Like, it's just a constant, how do we optimize things and create good stuff since then?
So we both realized that clinicians really didn't have the business and marketing know-how, and that that was something that they were really struggling with and needing. And we both were enjoying the private practice coaching. So the private practice startup was born officially and just over 2 years ago. And so and then we realized that we didn't want to do everything related to private practice, to, all the nuts and bolts and everything like that. We really are most passionate about the branding and marketing aspects. And so we've really honed in on that and being able to help other clinicians know how to authentically brand themselves and market their practices. And so that's kind of how our story came to be.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have had an exponential impact thus far. And being somebody who's been in the industry for a while, we've been watching this, and it's really nice to see how hard you, as you said yourself, hit the ground running and the type of impact you've had for clinicians. One of the questions that I have about for thought leaders as a general rule. And I had, sent you this earlier. I don't know if you had time to reflect on this in particular, but I'm curious for each one of you personally, when we're advisors to clinicians, we effectively have to work with them on any self-limiting beliefs they have around their own success, removing their upper limit, allowing themselves to have a kind of boundaryless career where they can be as successful as they would like to be, removing any sort of shame or money shame. And it's really asking them to take a hard look at themselves. Similarly to what we do with patients, it's interesting that it's such a dual process, right? We're working with patients, we're asking them to become an optimized self, and people like you and I are in the business of helping these clinicians to be optimized themselves. One of the questions I have for both of you is, how did you each get past how did you and how do you continue to work with yourself to get past your own self-limiting beliefs and to take the risks that you needed to do and to have some risk tolerance to pursue something great? You have had to get past this yourself. There's not a person who doesn't have some limitations. And I'd love it if you could tell our audience about how you got through that process yourself, and then subsequently how you teach people to do that.
So for me, in reading the bio, we usually tell a little like personal stuff about ourselves, and Katie's like the foodie, and Kate's the foodie and the wino, and I'm a personal growth junkie. I've been doing like personal growth stuff forever, and I continue to invest in myself. And so one of my big places, so my story is a little bit different. I was in community mental health, and I've been in management and leadership positions since I was 26 years old. And my staff was the one that pushed me out of my program. They're like, Katie, you're too good to be here. So you need to get out. But I had to get over a lot of my own money beliefs. So one of the things that I work really hard on is my own money beliefs. So it's just constantly investing in books, in personal and professional growth. I actually, this is a joke, but it's the truth, is that I only read 2 books my entire college career. I hated reading. I thought I could like learn better from a presentation, but I had a business coach for a year, and he said to me, he had this really cool exercise, and I was excited to do it. And I was like, hey, Michael, send me the exercise. He goes, did you read the book I sent you? I go, no, I'm not a reader. He's like, then no exercise. And I was like, okay. So I like literally took the book and set my timer on my phone, 10 minutes every day, and read only 10 minutes because I hated reading. So my first year actually reading, I read 11 books, and then I read 19, and I'm going to read over 24 books this year. And I've just so I'm constantly investing in, books, reading. I have a mastermind group. So I think my daily life is just flooded with personal and professional growth things. I swim in it.
Do you think it's fair, Katie, to say that, do you think that part of your interest in not only reading the way that you've been reading, do you notice that there's any correlation with entrepreneurial clinicians and or business people just being naturally curious? Do you find that you've finally been able to tap into some curiosity? I know that's something that I like to recommend, naturally curious people who are curious and just want to take in data without the judgment around what we're going to do with the data, just reading, spending time listening to these podcasts. Clinicians are taught in school to spend a lot of time in supervisory activities, seek consultation, don't focus outside of your scope of competence. We rarely encourage them to read business books, to learn about how to manage their books, to think about how to utilize technology, to listen to a podcast like yours, or to get good legal advice. We really don't support them being curious about the business of practice. And I wonder if your curiosity, you think, triggers a lot of what you guys have gotten your hands into.
That's a good question. I've never reflected on that. I guess I can speak from my own personal experiences. I never thought I was going to be in business. I thought I would live and die in community mental health. And I was petrified to be in business so much when I finally left my job. I couldn't breathe for 6 weeks. And so I realized I just have a passion and hunger for business. And for me personally, it's like when I work out, if I don't get to number 20 rep and I quit at 18, I'm okay with that. But with business, I just don't have an off switch. And I think the fun thing for me, at least about business, is when you throw something out there or you do some type of marketing technique and you get poor feedback, you're like, okay, what didn't work? What went wrong? What can I change? And that process is like a game for me, and it's exciting. And so that really just keeps me engaged. But I love your question about do naturally curious people, are they kind of curious about how to better themselves? I would assume maybe, yeah. I mean, if you're in the constant state of curiosity, maybe you just kind of want to learn and grow and suck in all that information.
Yeah, I would call it like learning without judgment, right? I mean, what I liked when I looked at your website and looked through all your materials and heard about you all, and you came to my attention was, I really feel that you are encouraging clinicians to enjoy the process of learning how to run a business and to not become paralyzed by the fear around how to do it, that it's actually empowering, freeing, they can earn more, they can run more ethically sound businesses by getting this assistant. But the first step always is giving ourselves some permission. That's why I was curious about what it took for you guys to give yourself permission yourself to pursue this business, and then what it takes to get these therapists to get out of their own way, ask for help, and become curious about the business of this business.
I know you asked the question earlier, and I'll come back to that, but I wanted to respond to this point about curiosity, because one of the things that Katie and I talk about with our coachees and with Startup Nation is that therapists already have the business skills. They just don't realize that they have them. And that natural, genuine curiosity, that's a micro skill that's taught. And that's like a natural aspect of just being a clinician. We have to be curious about our clients' lives and experiences and all of that. We can utilize those same micro skills that we have, like joining as a way to connect with people and build relationships through marketing. There's just so many ways that the therapists already have the skills. They have that skill set innate within them, and they learn it in grad school. It's just applying it in a different way, so that natural, genuine curiosity can apply the same way to building and growing and learning more, both personally and professionally as entrepreneurs.
I think Kate and I talked about this last time, but, Harvard Business Journal put out, essentially a grouping of articles all on the most effective leaders and what skill sets primarily these individuals seem to have. And when the information was distilled after looking at all of these research studies on leadership, in the end, what became incredibly compelling for folks like us and for people who are listening is the greatest leaders who have had the largest impact. And I'm not just talking about social impact, which we tend to know about, that these people, like someone like a Martin Luther King, is high EQ. They've actually had grave impact on business on the whole in terms of earnings as well. These high social and emotional intelligence individuals make very effective leaders. They also make for very good business people. And to me, these are the therapists that we spend our day with, right? They all are intuitive, empathic, socially and emotionally bright. The question is, how do you take all of those skills and get them to really be tolerant of using them to grow their own business and to, as we talked about, remove any shame or barriers to their own success. But I'm so glad you guys are talking about this. Their intrinsic natural skill set makes them a great fit for this, for this work that you're having them do.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this: when you meet a group of therapists and you're reflecting on the way they come to you, what do you think the current space is looking like? Are you seeing clinicians shift and starting at an earlier space in their career, or even later stage clinicians starting to understand the benefits, not just financially, of running an optimized business, but are you seeing that they're starting to understand that this is kind of spiritually and emotionally and professionally and personally good for them too, to run a sound, streamlined business?
I would say that there's definitely a lot more awareness about the benefits of being in private practice, and it's something that even graduate schools are now starting to incorporate and talk about. And every now and then you'll hear about a graduate class at, in a master's level, PhD, or private practice track, which is amazing, because it is something that, when you think about being in business, you want to think about your lifestyle and how that business can support the lifestyle that you want, and then also how you can follow your passion and your purpose and feel like you're really in alignment with making a difference in the way that you want to, and working with the clients that you most love working with and are best to work with, and then also being able to make a really good living while you do so. So I would say it's definitely becoming a lot more mainstream and a lot more accepted for people to go in that direction. What about you?
And you talk about branding too, which I just love that it's right out there. It's right out there on the website. You brought it up earlier. Can you tell clinicians that are still wondering about whether they should pursue getting business development time or business consulting with individuals like you, or using product lines like you develop, about what branding looks like for a clinician? I'd love to hear it from the two of you. What does a well-branded clinician look like?
So before we answer that question, I want to say yes, yes, and yes. Get professional development, coaching, mentoring. One of the things, and as you're talking about branding, and we'll talk about what that looks like, is I would say one of the biggest mistakes that we both made coming into private practice, and I see this constantly, and actually Kate and I are doing a podcast in a month on this very topic, is we did the same thing. We got into practice and we said, what should my name be? Where should my office be? How do I get a domain? How do I get incorporated? Those are the things that therapists ask. We say, absolutely don't do that. What we say is branding an ideal client first, because I get like chills when I talk about this because I'm just so passionate about it, because everything falls into place. Because when you know who your ideal client is and your brand, then your name comes, your name and your website, you know what to put on your website, you know what to say. And I'm getting chills right now as I'm talking about this. This is ridiculous. But that's how excited I am about it. So branding is really the experience that your client has with you, your business, and everything about it. And of course, we can think of big name companies like Amazon, Google, and things like that. And we can all think about, how does that company make me feel? Or what is the one word when I think about this company? Like I'll think Amazon, convenience comes to mind, right? And so when you're clear on your brand, it becomes this guideline and this guidepost on how to portray yourself in business, how to market, who to bring on if you want to grow your business. There's so much that incorporates that. And a lot of times therapists also, if they're not trained in understanding their brand and their ideal client, is they look through their own eyes. I worked with a coachee, and she's like, oh, I have this idea for my website, and I'm going to put a beach scene, and I'm going to put dog paws because I love dog paws. And I said, I'm just about to rock your world, and I'm just going to ruin your vision. Is that okay? And she goes, yeah, well, I paid you as my coach.
Yes.
And I said, Sandy, because we already had this conversation, I said, I love you. I said, but no one gives a crap about that. That's you. Your ideal client might not be interested in dog paws on the beach. And that's the part where we look through our own eyes and we're trying to think like projecting ourselves out into the world, rather than saying, what is my ideal client looking for? And we help clinicians do that process.
I'm so glad we're talking about this. We teach a webinar here about, capturing optimal referrals from optimal referral sources. And I think that this is a great way for us to help the community who's listening to understand that, first of all, when you have an optimal patient coming to your office, I think it's really important for all of us, just like you said, to think about who you want to work with and who you work with best. I like to liken this to a primary care physician model, right? When we decide what our area of expertise is, our niche expertise, and then we promote that, we make it easier for ideal patients to find us. We lower our ethical and legal liability because we're not trying to be everything to everybody. We're the best at what we do. The community pays experts a disproportionately higher amount in every single profession. And when push comes to shove and our families are struggling, or our children are struggling, or someone needs our help, we don't ask, what is the cheapest person I can find, or who has the widest branch of skills. We say, I need an expert, and I need an expert now.
Yep.
I think what also, I might just kind of jump in and talk a teeny bit about referral sources too, which is really interesting. I think that, there's some of the older methodology about how to connect with referral sources. And I always like to say, when we're thinking about intention in business, when we solve the problems of other people, we solve our own problems, right? Primary care physicians have to see 300 patients a day. When they are in an office with somebody who has PTSD or has just had a traumatic loss or has had an assault, they don't have time to review every card from every therapist that was dropped off at their desk and to try to remember what your area of specialty is, because the therapists are resistant to having an area of specialization or branding themselves or being self-promoting. When you are an expert in one way and you brand your business well, that referral source immediately knows how to find you. I recommend that people use consultation cards. They actually use a referral card. They give a primary care physician's office referral cards that say, this is what this person does. So then you have optimal referrals and optimal referral sources. This is how you actually build a business. And then when you want to have associates, you already have an area of specialization. And you're absolutely right. I couldn't agree with this more. It really starts not with what you want. It starts with what the community is calling for.
Right, exactly. In your area of specialty, right?
And
What it is that you want to do and what is it that they need.
And that's where it's so important to be clear on your brand and have that foundation, so you know your brand, your core values as a brand. What are your values? What are the most important things that you want to stay in alignment with, so that you're attracting the kinds of people that you're most passionate about working with, you're most skilled, you're most fulfilled by working with them, because the work that you do with them is going to be so much incredibly better than if you were just working with every other problem that presented in your office. And then also, as you're building that and you're getting the word of mouth referrals, being able to align yourself and partner with other professionals and companies and organizations who are going to share similar values and really be connected in a genuine way. Just, earlier this week, I was having a conversation with the Sarahs from Therapy Partner from your company. And it was so amazing because it was so clear that we shared such similar values as a company and as an organization. And the conversation was just, it was awesome. It was inspiring. I left feeling like energized, and now I'm so excited to have another amazing company, to partner with and to collaborate with moving forward. And then today to be able to meet you and hear your thoughts, it's just like, it's so awesome. I get the warm fuzzies inside when that stuff happens, because it's like, yes, there's other people who think the way we do, and like, this is just such a cool connection.
I feel the same way, and I've been thinking to myself this whole time, there's probably a Kate and Katie cohort, effectively, of clinicians that are like now coming out across the country. It's true, right? We generationally have made some shifts. There didn't used to be practice management software. There didn't used to be consultants that would help you brand your business like you both do. And I'd love for you to reflect with me, if we thought about this future Kate and Katie cohort that has come out of your business, that you've optimized, you've coached, you've inspired, you've provided them with wisdom, they feel properly prepared to take on the world of private practice and to really succeed. Can you give me and the audience any sort of factors of what these clinicians look like? Your most successful breed of clinician that you have turned out thus far. What are the qualities of these people when they start with you, and then when they're done? And what does a well-optimized, empowered, engaged, business-savvy clinician look like?
That's such a cool question.
I know. I was like, damn, Jessica, you are a good therapist, because you are asking some really intriguing questions.
Really good questions.
So since I'm formulating an answer first, I see you're formulating, Kate. So
we're both formulating, yeah.
One, I think initially is they're afraid, they're lost, they're unsure. And then on the outside, they're clear, they're excited, they feel empowered, they know they can do it, and they know that they can, just as easily as we plug our phone charger into the electrical outlet to charge our phone, they know that they can contact us at any time, and we're celebrating their wins. I feel like even more excited for their wins than our wins, and it's just so exciting, because it's this really cool effect, because not only do we get to coach some awesome people, but when they actually, come out in the world and they brand themselves or whatever they're doing, they're already stuck in our mind. Someone posted about EMDR training. I was like, oh, Andy Dobo, we coached Andy. He's great. Here. So it has this like trifecta effect, it's very synchronous. It's awesome. So that's what I would say. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, very similar. People come in and they're stuck, and they feel overwhelmed, they feel frustrated, they have these goals, but they don't know how to get there. And sometimes they're just paralyzed, because when you look at marketing as a whole, it can be so intimidating, and all the shiny objects and all the options and directions that they can go. And it's like, oh, but I'm consuming all this content, and I hear I need to do AdWords, and I need to have a website, and I need to go networking, and I need to do all these things. And they get so overwhelmed that it's like, oh my God, I don't even know what direction to go in. So it's that feeling stuck, feeling frustrated, and just kind of lost and overwhelmed. And then they come out of it with such a clarity of their message, of their brand. It's in alignment with who they are, with the lifestyle they want to live. It's they're so clear on their ideal clients and how to craft marketing messages that attract their ideal clients. So marketing becomes this like very natural and organic relationship building and nurturing experience. It's not like this uncomfortable, intimidating, feeling like icky, sleazy, salesy, imposing approach. It's just something that works so effectively, and they feel confident in that, and they feel passionate because they're doing the work that they love, and they're making a good income while making an impact.
Well, I think, I love hearing you say this, because I think it's very helpful for people who are listening to be thinking about. Sometimes it's hard to envision. My mother used to say the most annoying thing, but it's a very true thing. And so I found it obnoxious. She would just say, she was from the Bronx, she's like, you don't know what you don't know. That was what she would say. She's like, well, you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. And the truth of the matter is, I feel like there's some great abundance and wealth and warmth and love that comes from running a business optimally that people don't know. They don't know until they approach this. We did an activity here at Therapy Partner, a brainstorm with our staff about, pardon me, what a leveled up clinician actually looks like. Like, what is a leveled up clinician? What are the characteristics of these individuals that have gone to the Kate and Katie program, or they utilize the right technology, or they're visiting any of our other partners? You guys have partners all over the industry, so do I. They're engaging with the best of the best. As I say, they've separated out business operations time from business development time. They're not just in their business, they're actually running the business, not letting it run them. Showing their practice who's boss. So what are the characteristics of these people? And to me, I really like that we went over some of these today for our audience. One, they see the patients that they would be best seeing. They see optimal referrals, and they have optimal referral sources. I think they embrace technology. They utilize technology. I always say you can't be worth $170 an hour at 4 p.m. in the afternoon and worth $9 an hour at 9 a.m. You're either one or the other. You need to rely on technology and the benefits of good marketing and good advertising. I think leveled up clinicians are okay making money. And they also recognize that when they make money, they can make broader contributions by way of pro bono work with people as well. They actually can give back. I also think they're really proud of what they do. They're proud of their space. They're proud of their brand. They're proud of the work that they provide to patients. Their patients actually get better and thrive. And this is something that's a little bit of a leap. And I wanted to talk to you both about what you think is going on in our industry. But to me, and Kate and I talked about this a little bit, I actually think there's a great deal of pressure for all of us to level up our businesses as clinicians, because we are answering a very large cry of mental health issues around the country. The public is actually figured out that the mind and body are connected, and they now are calling for services and for help. And if every clinician you ever speak to will say they deeply care about mental health. They care about mental health. They care about advocacy. They want the public to get access to it. If you ask them if they're willing to promote their own business, they're like, no. So what Kate and I talked about last week is, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the community, because this cohort, this Kate and Katie cohort that comes out, maybe they use your services, maybe they have a good therapy directory listing, they've got a really solid website, they use a practice management device so that all of their healthcare data and financial data are secure. They level up their business. These are individuals who are making a larger contribution to the mental health industry and to the community. And I wonder if you guys are starting to see shifts in, obviously you're working with bulk clinicians, right? A lot of clinicians. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing that there is a shift in public awareness around mental health and around these? Do your past clientele come back to you and let you know, I think I'm having a greater impact in my community, or I'm providing more psychoeducation to the community, or I'm shifting mental health because my business is connected? Effectively what I'm asking is, do you, like I think that these two things are related?
The culture of mental health and awareness and the stigma that's present, it's definitely reducing. Therapy is becoming more mainstream. You see it more in the media, it's more accepted.
More accessibility, like with technology-assisted counseling, exactly. And then other experiential counselings.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we're also so passionate about what we do, because it helps us have a greater reach in making an impact and a difference in the world, because all of the clinicians that we help that are able to build their thriving practices and working with the clients that they love, that they are, most excel working at, they do excellent work. And when clients experience excellent clinical when they have an excellent clinical experience, they go out and they talk about it, and that reduces the stigma. And it's all like this cyclical thing that's really helping to change the culture of mental health, which is really powerful.
In fact, I think there might not be, there has never been a more important time for clinicians to get it right. Like I think, and I don't want to say anything that sounds too dark today, but essentially we also, I think, have just like when we take our, we sign on to be doctors and clinicians and therapists, we have an ethical guideline, ethical guidelines and legal guidelines that we practice underneath. I also think that we have a community responsibility to provide really good services. I think we have a responsibility to make sure when someone is suffering in their home and they go online, that they can actually find our business, that they know what our area of expertise is, that they know the differences between our credentials, that they know how to shop a good therapist, that they understand what their paperwork means, that they have a good, secure experience. We don't breach their confidentiality, texting or emailing about them. I actually think that we're under a larger microscope than we've ever been, because just like you said, the stigma is changing. There's never been a better time to have a great business and make sure that it's really well protected, because I think it has a great impact. I remember reading an article very early postgraduate school about, I'm a child adolescent specialist, reading an article about that they had done a research study that indicated that if an adolescent had a poor experience with a doctor or therapist, that they had a substantially diminished likelihood, if they ever had a likelihood at all, of ever returning to treatment again.
I can totally believe that.
And so, I think that sometimes we forget that we're actually doing the public a favor. And the reason I say this is because I think sometimes therapists are givers. They're really willing, when they hear about it this way, they're like, yeah, this does make sense. We got to get together. We got to work hard together to change this. And we have to run great businesses, which brings me to a question. I didn't put it on the list. So you guys are handling this really well, because I've heard things and then I want to ask about them. What do you tell therapists about being so competitive with one another?
Oh my gosh, we were just talking about this earlier. Katie and I really truly believe, like, at our core, we don't believe in competition. We really believe in abundance and collaboration. And there's so many clients to go around, So when you're clear on who you are, who you serve, and really authentically able convey that message and attract your ideal clients, you're going to be able to attract the clients that are going to work best with you, and you can refer the rest out. And
yeah, no, I was just thinking, and I have our private practice paperwork, but we have some business paperwork forms, and people have asked us, oh, well, do you have a non-compete? Nope. We don't believe in that. We don't sell that. We don't. And why? What do you need a non-compete for? If you are comfortable and clear enough with what you do and who you are, like he said, there's just plenty to go around, and you specialize in a certain area, or you should, and you'll just find those clients because they'll find you. And when you can authentically step into yourself, it's perfect. So yeah, we definitely do not believe in competition. It's just collaboration all the way.
Well, the thing is, I'm so glad. Thank you for saying that, because I think clinicians worry about this, right? This is more about how do they differentiate themselves from one another, and how do they have a strong brand and bring their best services to light, and actually brand their businesses in a way that suits them, right? You don't want to look like everybody else or act like everybody else, right? When you come to my business, I don't want you to sit on the couch and be surprised that I come out. You're like, I want the actual physical environment to be like, yeah, it pretty much looks like Jessica's office. There's no surprise here, right? You have this experience. Sometimes you go to somebody's home and they want the house to be so accessible to everybody that they decorate it for everybody, and they forget to decorate it for themselves. And either the house feels vacuous or vapid and doesn't feel like it has anything to do with them, or you feel like the house feels disconnected for them.
You have to find a way to stand out in a saturated marketplace, because, there's so many private practitioners out there. And if you're a generalist, you're not going to stand out. Even if you niche, you may not stand out. You have to really get so specific, narrow with your niche, or having a few different niches, and putting that message out there, and in a way that you're really being the expert, and you're the go-to person for whatever presenting problem people are struggling with.
Honestly,
when you and I talked, Jessica, I mean, you even said, and I had asked you, like, you're friends with who people would deem your quote unquote competition. You're like, oh, well, we're friends. Yeah.
Totally.
Well, why not? And it's cool that we can collaborate, because we can actually support each other. And I even think about the private practice coaching industry. There's so many different niches amongst all of us consultants. And I think instead of like feeling competitive, I think there's this yearning of, oh, I wish we did that, or, oh, that's such a great idea. I can't copy them now, but that's so good. You know what I mean? And so there's this yearning, and then we refer them.
I mean, we've developed friendships, genuine friendships with our, so-called competitors. We really don't see them that way. And it's interesting because you can see who has that scarcity mindset and who does believe in competition, because we have tried to make genuine connections and build relationships with some practice building coaches, and it's like been crickets, and it just hasn't really happened. So it's like, okay, well, they're not really in alignment with this whole collaboration, and
that's okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate you saying
do their thing, it's totally fine. And
I appreciate you saying scarcity. I think that functioning anytime from a place of fear, which is hard, you have to be risk tolerant in business. And I think sometimes people tell themselves a story. Someone had the money, or they had the experience, or they went to business school. It's not true. It requires a certain amount of risk tolerance. There's lots of us who came from very, very little. And honestly, I like to think about what would happen if we had a storm in the forest. Well, we certainly wouldn't separate from one another. You put your backs up in a storm is actually how you handle it. And that's how you stay safe and you stay dry. And the truth of the matter is there's a million licensed mental health clinicians in this country. There's plenty of room for them to use any practice management technology. I always say, as long as you're using something, I'm pleased. If you're not using any technology to protect your patients' healthcare and financial data, or to streamline your business, or to understand your earnings, or to get encrypted statements out, then I don't care whose technology you use. Just please don't do it yourself, because you didn't go to school to be an administrator. You went to school to be a clinician or a therapist or a doctor or a psychiatrist. And same goes for you, right? There's a million therapists who are potentially listening who have not got consultative services. And I think the best way to stand out from your competition truly is to level up all across the board. You just decide to run this business like a business and to own it. Lift the ceiling off. Start thinking about earning a decent amount of money. Start thinking about seeing the patients that you're best at seeing. Start thinking about employing other clinicians who have no interest in listening to this podcast or coming to anything like this. They want to work for someone else. Start thinking about how to help those people work for a business like yours, and brand yourself well. And then have all of the protections in place so that the business operates well, so that when you leave at night and you lock the door, you actually go home and enjoy the space and freedom necessary to recalibrate as a clinician, because this is not an easy job. And when you talk to them on the phone, you and I talk to them all day, the things that they're the most worried about are like, the financial data protection, or how to send a secure statement, or they're worried about how to put up a website. And now they don't have to worry anymore. There's really places to go. There's people to ask. You are an incredible resource for them. I hope that people will call you. They will utilize all of your resources. They will ask for referrals, and that they will take also some inspiration and wisdom from the risks that you both took. You could have stayed in your private practice yourself, and you decided to help other people and broaden your reach. And there's something really remarkable about that, which makes me want to ask you about your legacy, because we'll have hopefully another conversation. I'd like to ask for you guys to come back and maybe do a particular teaching on the podcast. I'll sit more quietly. Maybe you can teach our listeners some of these incredible things that you know. But if Kate and Katie had a legacy, what would that look like? We fast forward, you've made a solid professional contribution. What do you want that to look like?
So Jessica's like turning our tricks around on us.
I know.
So it's funny because as we
question.
I help people go through their vision, mission, and their culture. We always say, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? Your 100-year goal. So I don't know that I know I've answered mine, but what is the legacy that I want to leave behind? So for me, interestingly enough, is I always want to see how far the rabbit hole will go. For me, Kate and I are in this place also too, like we're wanting to move more out of private practice, do more of this. And I even want to help build my spouse's business. So for me, it's being able to create businesses. I love Marcus Lemonis. He's the prophet on TV. And so being able to help help people like really organize businesses, come together, because businesses help other people. They help our economy. They help our community. I mean, everything that you touch in a day is a business. Everything. You're saying a chair, this podcast mic, this Arctic I'm drinking out of, our phones. It's all a business. And thank God for business owners, because then we wouldn't have the things that we have. So the impact that I would want to leave is to really help people feel inspired. And, you know, I know you had said, like, there's some people that maybe don't want to be a business owner, and that's clear. As long as you're clear, great, fantastic. But for those who really want to do that, I want to continue to inspire them, and I continue to inspire myself so I can inspire others. So leaving the world a better place through helping and supporting businesses.
Yeah, I mean, our vision is inspiring mental health professionals across the globe to brand themselves and grow their dream practices. And that's, you know, that really answers your question, is being able to help people develop their authentic brand and grow their dream private practices and live the lifestyle that they really want. You know, that's really the main focus of what we do and why we do what we do. And when we see clinicians doing just that, it's like, it is just so incredibly inspiring and rewarding. And it's amazing.
Yeah, when they're excited about it, that's like,
and when they see the results, they see the results,
and we get the email or the message or whatever. That's not fair. You have more time to think while I was answering, so you just made it super simple. Thanks.
Well, you just jumped in. You jumped in.
I did.
And
I know.
I was
you said that, and you're like, oh.
I don't.
But that's what happens when you're clear on your vision, right? Kate could just tell you and answer that question so simply. Yep.
Yeah. The other thing is, I mean, obviously I'm just backtracking because I can't let it go. I want to talk about the non-compete issue one more time. So, and I feel like, I think it was you, Kate, that just helped me, you know, want to go back and reflect on it just a little bit more for our audience. I will tell you, when a person has a fully optimized business, they have done these things you just talked about, right? They have actually followed your legacy, right? They have decided to have a business they feel extremely good about. It's exceptional. It runs it's operationally is streamlined. It's abundant. It gives back to the community. The time to actually have a non-compete is when you have associates working for you and you have branded your business. You have built a financial plan. You have drawn in optimal referrals and referral sources. You have sat on podcasts like this. You have engaged in continuing education to learn to grow your business. You have invested the time and energy to build something that has a greater reach because you've added associates. And what you don't want them to do is take exactly what you just did, spent your time, your money, your energy in, and repeat it down the block with the same colors and the same textures and the same message, and to take the clients, as I say, pull a rider truck up and take the clients out of the back of the practice. So when people are worried, I think people worry about competition very, very early on in business instead of worrying about it a little bit later. Once you've taught someone all your business methodology and you've taken all this time to learn from folks like yourselves and myself, that is the time to preserve your nest egg and what you've built, and to make sure that you're not getting into business with people who are taking advantage of the time that you've spent to actually grow your business. Outside of that, there's really no place for functioning, as you said, Katie, with scarcity. You don't need to worry and function from a place of scarcity. You can function from a place of abundance. As I say, people who should be worried about that actually have something large to protect. They've built a clinic, perhaps even a clinic. I've started to talk to clinicians in our podcast and through our education about exit strategy. People are now selling practices. I mean, this is something people did not think about before. Psychiatrists did. But psychologists or therapists never thought about exit strategy by way of selling a business and the clientele that go with it. But if you built a 12 associate practice in your area or multi-location practice, you may be able to exit that. And so protecting what you have built in your business is a real thing. And what I love about it is the fact that we've even gotten to the place where therapists are building these. This is a sign that they have gotten business training. They've met with people like you, and that they're believing in the dream. I want to ask, when people come to the website, I want you to tell our listeners how to engage. I go to a website, people tell me to go to a website, and then I go there and I read around. Tell me what you want these people to do. You want them to come to the website. What do you want them to ask from you? Where do they start? What do they do first?
So actually, we make it really super simple for people to engage with us. Right on our website, we invite people to grab a copy of our A to Z cheat sheet essentials for building and growing your dream practice. So you'll see our smiling faces. Of course, we're in Florida, so we have to have water in the background. I think we have tanks on too as well. Professional, nice looking tanks. But right there is just, a link, a button to grab that. And then you begin to come into our world, and we nurture that relationship. We invite you into Facebook. And we're constantly, just trying to provide service, content, information, questions. And so really it's Facebook and really grabbing that copy. What else would you say?
Yeah, I was going to say very similar, to as soon as they visit our website, they'll see the call to action where we're inviting them to download the A to Z cheat sheet. And then we invite them into our Startup Nation community. So we invite them there, and that's where we can nurture the relationship and offer ninja tips, tricks, and hacks for practice building and growing. And
we did Facebook Live yesterday with another consultant. We put a video in there today.
Yeah, a ton of resources under our resource tab that they can download. If they're interested in our attorney-approved private practice paperwork, they can download the free HIPAA form there. And then we also have, of course, under our services, we have coaching, we have trainings, we have webinars, we have under our shop, the paperwork and online courses, just an abundance of things. So it's pretty easy to navigate. And we would love to be able to connect with people within our Facebook community. That's the place where we're most active, and they get daily responses, not only from us, but also from 3,000 plus people and growing every day with Startup Nation. And then also partners and people that we've collaborated with that are professionals who support private practitioners like yourself, Jessica. So
yep.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, first of all, I appreciate you saying that. I do think all of our listeners should go to privatepracticestartup.com for more information. They should follow these instructions and tips. They should just get with you, ladies, and start thinking about leveling up their business. It absolutely can happen. I think it's good for us to ask you back again, is the truth of the matter. I think I could talk to each one of you or both of you again. I think that you make great contributors to Love Your Practice. We appreciate the fact that you encourage the clinicians that you work with to really embrace technology in their business and to safeguard their businesses. I want to remind you all that all of your current customers receive a 60-day free trial of Therapy Partner if they come through you, since you're a partner of ours. I really appreciate you coming on. There's so much we could talk about. I'd love for you to consider coming back on maybe in Q2 or Q3 and providing a specific training, maybe going through some of those A to Z items. Some quick tips would be great, especially items that just really stimulate people to get started. I think once people are in advising services and they feel that they have the consultative support, probably no different than their patients, it gets the ball rolling. The real question, again, is just like our patients, how do we get these clinicians take the first step and realize that you can level up an entire business, that there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. There's patients that need to be seen, and you're the ladies to help them get their business there. So I think you should be incredibly proud of yourselves. I think you have a remarkable business. I think you're making a remarkable contribution to our industry. I think you are thought leaders, and I'm very grateful you came on.
Oh, thank you.
Right back at you, Jessica. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be on today, and we've just so thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and would love to
come back, of course.
Would love to come back, and would love to have you back on ours as well. And I know we talked about potential webinars and all sorts of good stuff with the Sarahs earlier this week. I'm sure they circled back with you, and we'll talk more about those future connections. But yeah, it's great to connect with you, and we look forward to a continued relationship.
Thank you guys so much. And for our Therapy Partner customers that are listening and our prospective customers that are listening, please visit Kate and Katie at privatepracticestartup.com for more information. I do want to thank our sponsor one more time before I jump off. So again, today's episode was sponsored by Good Therapy. Good Therapy is a profile directory, and it specifically helps clinicians to be found in the most ethical manner possible. If you really want to attract, as we talked about all day today, optimal clientele, you'll get yourself a goodtherapy.org profile directory listing, and you do get a discount if you're a Therapy Partner member or you listen to this podcast. So please let them know when you join and pick up your directory listing. We really enjoy working with Good Therapy. We think that they do great work. They're making a vast impact in the community, really helping the public to find the right clinicians, and the clinicians that Kate and Katie help you to brand your business, put up a profile directory listing that actually works. You know, it's these products that work in conjunction with one another. Today, we all talked about partnership, and I really think it's partnering and working together, using all the resources that are available to private practitioners these days to really level up your practice. So I want to thank everybody again for listening. I am your host, Dr. Jessica Dolgan. Love Your Practice is a podcast dedicated to improving the quality of life for private practice clinicians. clinicians by providing you all with this community, inspiration, wisdom, and business of practice education. We always want to remind people that Love Your Practice is powered by Therapy Partner, which is a practice management technology designed specifically for clinicians in private practice with the explicit aim of streamlining the business side of your business. You can visit therapypartner.com at any time to explore the unique practice management technology, pick up a 60-day free trial, and explore all of our Love Your Practice educational content, which is always free to Therapy Partner members. That includes webinars, podcasts, practice building strategies, a blog, and more. So Kate and Katie, thank you again for coming. I really look forward to connecting with you soon, and wish you the very best in the rest of Q1 of 2018 here.
Thank you so much,
Awesome. You
Jessica.
as
This
well.
was so much fun.
Great, ladies.
Awesome. That was fun.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I hope that went well. I was trying to get the cadence, and you guys have so many interesting things to say. I was looking at the questions. I'm like, I don't want to ask him about this. I want to ask him something. And you rolled with it really well. I want to drive the most traffic to your business, and I want people to understand really what you do, why, and why they would pursue this, and where they're going to get when it happens. So
Awesome. Well, thank you. It was
Thank
really
you
fun
so
being
much.
on, and we'd love to come back and, would love to, I don't know, did you have the Sarahs talk to you about potential webinar? Because we're going to be doing, for the month of May, we're going to be doing our May marketing series. So we're having a different company, different speaker come on every single week. There's 5 weeks in May. And we wanted, the Sarahs were thinking about, oh, how cool would it be to have you, and of course the topic is totally negotiable, and whatever you feel is going to be, we've got to relate it to marketing. So however you see the practice management system being something that supports the marketing efforts or that directly influences that, like whatever topic we can come up with, that would be valuable for Startup Nation. That would be great if you're interested.
Oh, I'd be happy to contribute. Happy to contribute. We could redo one of the, I'm really onto money shame these days. So there's topics that I just like to talk about. And then obviously, most of them get streamlined into some discussion about practice management technology. What I'd recommend is maybe one of the webinars where we go over 5 must engagements in your life as a clinician to kind of to level up your practice financially or otherwise. So I'd love to participate. I appreciate you inviting me on. And I did get with the Sarahs, and I'd really like to continue to improve our affiliate relationship. I feel just the way we talked about online, but we'd like to drive more business over to your business. We'd like you to know everything you need to know about Therapy Partners so that you can feel confident referring individuals over here. Sarah will set you up. Of course, all of your clients receive a 60-day free trial of this product, which includes all the education, the technology, and then every person here gets a dedicated support person. So we want you to feel confident. We have paid or non-paid affiliate relationships. You guys can decide about the way that you work, but we would like to add you to our partners page. I would like to spotlight you periodically and profile some of the things that you're promoting, have you back on, have you co-host a webinar or do a teaching webinar or podcast with me. I think that you guys are a great asset to the community.
Awesome.
Just crushing it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. We really appreciate that. And vice versa, the feelings are totally mutual. And, I had talked with the Sarahs about our attorney approved private practice paperwork. So we've got a la carte forms, and we also have packages available, and they meet the legal and ethical standards. We actually just revamped our whole affiliate system, so it's really streamlined, and
it's great.
So we've got our affiliate fees. So if you guys wanted to partner with us, become an affiliate, we're happy to get you set up with all of that as well.
Yeah. I even mentioned to Sarah yesterday. So we just, we have a patient portal now, right? So we're loading, and we're trying to load not just, generic documentation, but some solid documentation for patients to fill in. And, I don't know if Sarah's gone over, but we actually have a very entwined relationship with Good Therapy now. So
Awesome.
The partnership is very deep, and we're also potentially launching a portal integration with therapy sites. So what I'd like to do is potentially, if you're okay with it, and we like one of the forms together, I would actually like to put a form of yours in the portal, and we can put some sort of prompt for clinicians. You need the rest of the packet. You want to work with the rest. There could be a deeper level of integration if you'd like, because Sarah did get with me, and she said they're really good. So you've done it right, and you should be rewarded for doing so. And we have thousands of customers around the country that I think should be accessing your services. And I don't think it's too late either. I feel like when people ask, I'm going to hopefully try to brand you guys a little bit, is it's never too late. I don't think this has to be a startup issue. I think that people can rebrand anytime.
Exactly.
In fact, most of them are where you were, Katie, where you're like, I'm like knees deep in this and I don't know what I'm doing and I need to recalibrate, but it's not time to give up. So Sarah will come. Sarah's the best. She handles all of our national business development, but I personally would like to build a relationship with you both. And I always like to say, when I started this, I really did feel like I didn't have any friends who did what I did. I mean, I didn't have any colleagues who did this exact. I mean, I had all sorts of clinician friends, and I have regular friends, but I didn't have any friends who were like, "What is your business?" I'm like, I help clinicians with develop this technology. Anyways, all by myself. So now I really enjoy having colleagues. It's awesome. I don't feel like I'm crazy like I did when I launched the product 10 years ago. I felt like a crazy person. People are like, why would you do that? Why are you trying to get therapists to store credit card data online? So anyway, this is really exciting, and I hope you feel comfortable being colleagues and friends.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And we really see that valuable relationship with you and friendship. And it's so cool to be able to connect with people across the country and internationally too, as an online business. And now meeting other companies and other business owners who are, very aligned and have similar values. It's just so great to have those connections. It's really meaningful and fulfilling. And it's like we all can support each other. And it's so cool. And it was great to get a tour of your platform. It's a beautiful platform, super comprehensive. I'm glad you like it. Was really helpful. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch the recording yet, but I know you're going to watch it. So so now I feel really, really confident about referring people your way. And we take our referrals very seriously. So we want to have that confidence in who we're referring to. So it's been so nice to be able to get to meet you, number one, build that relationship, see your platform, see the value in it. And we're definitely going to send people your way.
Well, I appreciate that. And just so you both know, one thing I am going to send you, we just had there's a guy who did a video for TED Talks, and he actually handled our new feature demo. And it's a video. So it'd be nice as you're learning about the product. We'll send it over. It's 2 minutes for you guys to watch it, but it explains to a therapist in 2 minutes why you would use something like Therapy Partner.
We already have you on our resources page. And so what we'll do is
send the video over.
We'll send the video. I'll add it on the resources page so clinicians can watch it and get that snippet. They can get that sense of what it's like to use that. And as far as the form goes, we would. I told the Sarahs that I wanted to go ahead and send you the peak package, which is the complete, comprehensive, every possible form that we've ever created.
We can
send that to you with the affiliate stuff, and then we can talk about what form would make the most sense to put, whether it's the HIPAA or something else, to put within your patient portal.